Hello, YouTube. Sir Dragon X here. Is it true the current president of Mexico, Lopez Obrador, said that he was going to be deporting Americans? Well, I'm going to analyze that in the video coming up next. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Recently, a viewer commented asking about the buzz surrounding the deportation of Americans here in Mexico. This piqued my concern as I hadn't heard anything about this from my usual sources. I was especially puzzled because the Immigration Department is still running the regularization program, which is meant for individuals with an expired FMM. Does this indicate that the regularization program might be coming to an end? Are Americans who let their FMM expire as part of the program at risk of deportation? Does this mean an end to the automatic 180-day FMM? This would have surely been noticed if it were true. Intrigued, I decided to delve deeper, and here is what I discovered. I began by conducting a brief Google search, and surprisingly, I discovered numerous TikTok videos discussing the Mexican president's announcement of plans to deport Americans lacking proper documentation to reside in the country. Some of these TikToks implied that this measure is being taken in response to the gentrification in Mexico and recent events in Mazatlan, as well as an incident in Durango, Mexico, involving a tour group during the eclipse where the tour guide berated a young girl. I was initially taken back and nearly convinced until I spotted a pattern. All these TikTok videos share certain characteristics that raised my suspicions. To save time, I'll show you two of these randomly selected TikTok videos and ask you to identify what you noticed. After watching, please pause the video and share your observations in the comments section below. Now, let's take a look at these videos, shall we?
Breaking news. Mexican president announces deportation plans for unauthorized American residents. In a startling announcement today, the president of Mexico revealed plans to deport American citizens residing in Mexico without proper documentation, commonly referred to as illegal immigrants. This decision comes amid growing frustration over Americans gentrifying cities across Mexico. Recent events have highlighted the issue, with Americans attempting to colonize beaches, public areas, and even cultural staples like salsa dancing. While many Americans move to Mexico seeking a better quality of life due to affordability challenges in the United States, their presence has led to local price hikes, as they pay in dollars while locals transact in pesos. Rather than contributing positively to the Mexican economy, these individuals are creating hardships for native residents. Compounding the situation, the number of Mexicans migrating to the United States has significantly decreased since 2019, while the reverse trend sees more Mexicans willingly returning to Mexico. Meanwhile, a growing number of Americans are seeking opportunities in Mexico, further exacerbating the issue. This reversal of migration patterns underscores the complexities of international movement and highlights the need for comprehensive solutions to address economic disparities and ensure equitable living conditions for all residents, both native and foreign.
Breaking news. The president of Mexico has stated that he will begin to deport Americans that have moved to Mexico without proper documentation, aka illegal immigrants. This comes after the president of Mexico states that he is tired of Americans gentrifying cities in Mexico. In the past 3 weeks, we have seen different events where Americans try to colonize beaches, public areas, and even salsa. While a lot of these Americans have moved to Mexico for a better life, they move there because they cannot afford to live here in the United States. So move to Mexico so they can afford a lifestyle there. But locals have raised their prices because Americans are paying in dollars, while locals that are still shopping have to pay in pesos and now have to pay the equivalent of the dollar. And instead of these people moving to Mexico and bettering the economy, they're making it horrible for the people that live there. You know, the natives. And if you already did not know, the amount of Mexicans migrating to the United States has slowed down by the 100,000 since 2019. The amount of Mexicans living in the United States leaving willingly back to Mexico has increased drastically. And while Mexicans are moving back to Mexico, a lot of Americans have been moving to Mexico for a better life. But my, how the tables have turned. What are your thoughts?
All right, now that you've shared your observations, I'll outline what I noticed along with my findings from my further investigation. Although my conclusions are somewhat conjectural, they seem to be quite definitive. First, despite the variations and some alterations, all the TikTok videos I examined seem to follow the exact same script. After watching 5 or 6 of them, each appeared to be almost a carbon copy of its predecessor, even the ones done in Spanish. Second, I observed that the only videos I found on this topic were only on TikTok. Third, none of the videos featured the actual president of Mexico making these statements. Fourth, none of these videos originated from official news sources in Mexico. Fifth, the incidents mentioned, including gentrification and recent events, pertain to individuals with legal status in the country. Also, I did some further digging and checked all available media sources, government contacts, and other contacts to see if they had heard of this. Guess what? There were no major news reporting, and none of my contacts had heard anything about this. The regularization program is still in full force, and there has been no reported deportations of Americans here in Mexico recently. My conclusion is that it seems to be a disinformation campaign or fake news on social media aimed at frightening or causing distress amongst U.S. citizens. There are no official reports supporting these claims, and notably, all the videos are predominantly shared on one single social media platform. Now, although this is not cause for alarm at this point, I want to point out a few things that are true. First, if your FMM is expired and you do get stopped in the interior of Mexico, you do face deportation. Second, if you cannot show proof of legal status, such as not having your original residency documents and not a copy or stamped passport, you can face detention until immigration can confirm your legal status. Third, if you are in Mexico to take care of your residency status through the regularization program, be aware that if you do get stopped by an immigration official, you still face deportation. You will not be deported when you show up for your regularization at the immigration office. Just keep in mind that the period of time between your FMM expiring and reporting to immigration, you are subject to deportation. My advice is to get to the immigration appointment as close to the date after it expires, and do not travel through the interior of Mexico with an expired FMM. Stay put once your FMM expires until you report to the immigration office for your regularization appointment. Most importantly, it's essential to understand that despite being promoted by many facilitators and YouTubers as a straightforward path to residency without proving financial solvency, this program still carries different conditions that must be met. These requirements can differ between various INM offices, and the program can be discontinued at any time. Originally, it was expected to end in 2022, but we've been fortunate that immigration authorities have maintained it up to this point. Bottom line, at this point, there's no reason to worry. And if something changes, we will be the first to let you know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below with your experiences. It really helps me to make more content to help you. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed.